Hey there, Jenn Dize here for Status Coup, and I have some good news for Bernie Sanders coming out of Nevada. This is news that people have been waiting for a long time. Let's take a look. So finally, after more than a month of waiting, we have a poll out of Nevada. So this is a Las Vegas Review-Journal AARP joint poll, and it shows Bernie Sanders in the lead at 25%. Next is Joe Biden at 18%, then Elizabeth Warren at 13%, Tom Steyer at 11%, Pete Buttigieg at 10%, Amy Klobuchar at 10%, and other undecided 13%. As I mentioned, this has been a long time that we have been waiting for this poll. Previously, so this is the Real Clear Politics average of polls. So previously, we had a poll from USA Today, Suffolk, and that was entered in, I believe we got it actually on the 14th of January. So that was the most recent one. And back then, it showed Bernie Sanders at 18%, and Biden was ahead of him at 19%. Then was Warren at 11, Steyer at 8, Buttigieg at 8, Klobuchar at 4, Gabbard at 1. So interestingly, Gabbard isn't even registering now at any percentage points. So this shows Bernie kind of zooming up. You can see that Bernie, the average here is 21.5% with the polls that we have, the most recent polls. So this is excellent news for Bernie. Coming off of winning Iowa, and yes, Bernie won Iowa according to the data that we have, and hopefully they'll get their act together and we'll get more and more information out of Iowa, but Bernie won the popular vote in the first round, more than 6,000 more votes than Pete Buttigieg. Second round, not quite as big of a win in the popular vote, but he still won. So then we have his win in New Hampshire, and he won in New Hampshire. And the pundits like to say, oh, he didn't win as much as he won by as much as he won in 2016. Well, guys, there were 9 candidates. Like, give me a break here. Bernie won New Hampshire. They'll do anything they can to try to diminish any Bernie Sanders wins. So coming off of those wins, it seems like Bernie Sanders is getting a bump going into Nevada. Now, we have to be careful because, as we've reported on this channel, there's some weird things going on with this supposed iPad tool that they're going to use. Who knows what's happening there? We're collecting information, talking to sources. We'll report on that more. But to distill this, Bernie Sanders has a bump in Nevada, and that's what we're going to focus on for right now. So let's take a look at what the Las Vegas Review-Journal has to say about this. The headline here, Sanders holds lead heading into Nevada's Democratic caucuses, poll finds. Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders leads the presidential field by a solid margin among likely Democratic caucus goers heading into Nevada's 4-day early voting period. But all 6 of the candidates actively campaigning in the state this week earned double-digit support according to the Nevada poll. The telephone poll, conducted by WPA Intelligence on behalf of the Las Vegas Review-Journal and AARP Nevada, contacted 413 likely caucus attendees from Tuesday through Thursday. Sanders led the pack with 25% of respondents expressing support, followed by former Vice President Joe Biden at 18% and Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts at 13%. So even though this is a good poll for Bernie, I want to point out that I don't like that the poll only surveyed 413 likely caucus goers. I really, with all of these polls, and Jordan and I have called out these polls in the past, I would like to see a much, much larger sample size. So, I got to be consistent here. It's a good poll for Bernie, but the methodology here and the margin of error, it makes me a little uncomfortable. I wish that they would survey more people, but that's a story for another day. So it goes on to describe the rest of them. And interestingly, a lot of people say that they are undecided. So 13% chose other or undecided, and they actually specify and break it out here that 8% of Democrats surveyed said that they were undecided. So those people are kind of ripe for the taking. So Bernie Sanders has an excellent ground game. It's possible that he could grab a lot of those undecided voters. So it'll be really interesting to see how that shakes out, especially in the caucus process where voters can change their mind. During the second round, they can change their mind if their candidate didn't reach the level of support required in order to proceed. So let's see here. I'm not going to read this entire thing to you. I'll drop it in the description box, but you can see here, it's, you know, it's good for Bernie. It's a good poll for Bernie, good write-up for Bernie. But then, of course, we have the pundit takes, and I have to show you this. It's Nate Silver, good old Nate Silver. So Nate Silver says, finally, a Nevada poll. Curious what our model will do with this one. At first glance, looks like a slightly closer race than it was expecting. So Nate Silver is the king of like making sure that anything good for Bernie doesn't actually look good for Bernie. So I had to show you that because it's hilarious. That's what these pundits are going to do. Even though Bernie Sanders is at 25% and surged by the amount that he surged, as I showed you, these pundits like Nate Silver, I haven't seen the CNN takes, but I'm sure that they're going to do this too. They're going to diminish this as much as possible. Right now, it's like a 24/7 like Bloomberg and Buttigieg channel on CNN. So I'm sure that they're going to diminish Bernie's surge as much as they possibly can. I mean, that's to be expected, right? So that's not the only place where Bernie Sanders is surging and showing and making a really strong showing in this race, according to the polls. He's also doing a really good job, if you want to call it that, in the national averages of polls, or the averages of the national polls, excuse me. So we have here polls from February. We have Economist, The Hill, Monmouth, Quinnipiac, Morning Consult. We have a slew of polls here. And Bernie Sanders, according to the RCP average, is leading the pack at 23.6%. Biden comes next. Then Bloomberg. Don't sleep on Bloomberg. We certainly aren't going to be, because he hasn't been, you know, competing to this point. But he's showing, due to his money, a pretty strong showing here in these polls, and it's pretty scary if you consider that it's literally due to his money, and that he's a billionaire, and that his money's not going to be running out anytime soon, or ever. So Bernie Sanders here leading in every poll except for the Hill-Harris X poll. So Biden is actually leading in that one, 23 to Bernie's 20. But overall, with the average, Bernie Sanders is leading. We also have him leading in Texas. And this is big news, because previously, let's look at the previous Texas polls. Previously, it's been Biden, and actually in their average of polls, Biden is leading at 28% to Bernie's 22.7%. But now we have Bernie with this latest Texas Tribune, University of Texas poll, leading 24 to Biden's 22. So Bernie surging in Texas is pretty extraordinary news, and that's a good sign for Bernie for sure. So what do we take away from all of this? Well, people are looking at Bernie's policies and realizing that he's the candidate. They are looking at who can actually beat Trump, and they're realizing that it's Bernie. They are also seeing the shenanigans that have played out, and I believe that this will have a more and more of an impact as the DNC is called out, as these, you know, establishment figures in the Democratic Party are called out on their pretty transparent attempts to rig this race. And yeah, I will say rigged. I've actually, in previous comments on my videos, I've been saying shenanigans because I like that word, and to me, it can mean whatever you want it to mean, and it means something pretty strong. Like, shenanigans means they're rigging. But I'll use the word rig, because they rigged it in Iowa for sure. We just got information in and reporting in from Yahoo News, actually, that the DNC had a very heavy hand in planning that shadow app in Iowa. And we'll be reporting more on that for sure. So rigging is what's happening. They don't want Bernie Sanders to win, but the people are seeing through it, and it's because of the policies. They see through Pete Buttigieg. Now, I'm not saying everybody sees through it. The media push for Buttigieg, for Bloomberg, is very strong. The media would like nothing more than to see a race between Michael Bloomberg and Donald Trump. Can you imagine what that would do for their ratings? They would love that. And that's what it's all about for them, is ratings and money. Meanwhile, we have real people who see Bernie's real policies. So it's kind of this tug of war between policies and real people, and people seeing through what the media is doing, what the DNC is doing. And then on the other hand, this manufacturing consent that the media is doing. and trying to do everything they can to diminish Bernie's wins, to diminish how he's doing in the polling, to diminish him as a candidate. It's absolutely disgusting. We will continue reporting on it, but the takeaway for now is that Bernie is absolutely killing it, according to the latest poll that we have out of Nevada. This is great, great news for Bernie Sanders. We will definitely keep an eye on it. Please consider supporting us by becoming a member so that we can keep reporting. Jordan is going to be on the ground in Nevada. He was on the ground in Iowa. He was on the ground in New Hampshire. Really fantastic stuff. Amazing interviews with people like Michael Moore and Nina Turner and everyday volunteers and canvassers, and just really incredible work. So let's keep him going in Nevada. Let's keep him on the ground, keeping his eye on any shenanigans, there's my word again, that go on any rigging that goes on. So become a member for just $5 a month. It makes a huge, huge difference. You go to statuscoup.com/join. You get amazing behind the scenes content, monthly member calls, a lot of great stuff, but you support the media revolution. You keep Jordan reporting on the ground. You get us out into the field. You get us investigating, and it's all about you. If you're already a member, you can support us at any amount at paypal.me/statuscoup. Everything helps. Please share our content. We love you lots. We'll keep reporting on everything that happens. All right, I'll see you soon. Bye.